Thank you for joining me here today to talk about AtChat and the value of assistive technology peer mentoring. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the privilege I have today of presenting on the lands of the Noongar people of the Whadjuk Nation. I pay my respect to their elders past and present and extend this respect to all traditional owners of Australian land. I'm going to start today's presentation with some background information about AtChat, our objective, our work streams and our co-design. And I'll provide an explanation of AtChat's assistive technology peer mentoring program and its impact to date. I'll run through an example of how people use assistive technology to live, play and work through our peer-led information products, and how the AT portal is providing impartial and peer-led information about AT to people with disability in Australia. As the slide says, AtChat is a peer-led, co-designed online community for assistive technology users to share information and lived experience about assistive technology. Our objective is to increase the capability and confidence of people with disability to make AT decisions through access to peer support and peer-led information. I should just note, I'm going to flick between saying assistive technology and AT interchangeably, but I mean the same thing. So these are our two work streams. Our peer-led information products that show people using assistive technology to live, play and work. All of our peer-led information products are hosted on our website, which is atchat.com.au, and via the AT portal, which I'll talk about in more detail later in this presentation. You can see from the screen we have a number of different information product offerings, including AT Discovery, our e-learning modules, Collabs, which is content developed in collaboration with other disability peaks or small business owners, our Live, Play, Work blog series, where people write about the AT they use daily, our AT&Me videos, which I'll show you today, and Chatterbox Spotlight, where we highlight a great piece of AT based on a person's post on Chatterbox. Chatterbox falls within our peer support initiative. It's a Facebook group, and it's open exclusively to AT users. It provides a safe and supportive space to ask questions, share information, and chat about all things AT. Our AT peer mentoring is the main focus of my presentation today, and it connects customers with people with lived experience of disability and assistive technology who have a certificate in AT peer mentoring and who are dedicated to utilising their lived experience and knowledge to support their peers to make informed decisions about an AT solution. All of our peer-led information and peer support, except for Chatterbox, which is on Facebook, is accessible through our new AT portal. However, that summary of AtChat is not how or where we started. AtChat has been a really long journey of iteration and co-design, which started in 2017 with a survey and focus group to find out how people with disability in Western Australia would like to access information about AT. The results really strongly favoured an online interactive group led by fellow AT users, and video was by far the preferred medium for content. So based on these results, AtChat launched Chatterbox on Facebook, and the focus was to build a community of AT users across Australia and indeed the world, and provide the platform and content to aid discussions about assistive technology. And in 2018, AtChat conducted think tank sessions with AT users, experts and health professionals to explore a model of AT peer mentoring. The community was overwhelmingly supportive of the creation of an AT peer mentoring program. AtChat was then able to receive some funding from the National Disability Insurance Agency to pilot an AT peer mentoring program to support assistive technology decision-making. Our goal was to co-design a holistic, person-focused AT decision-making support model with end users. The model would respond to individual capacity, facilitate choice and control, and recognise changing capacity. In 2019, pre-iteration user-driven prototyping sessions were held to explore in more detail how this might actually happen, how this might be delivered. And a number of other co-design activities were conducted at the same time, including storytelling, we did some user profiling, and we certainly did some user testing. In response, AtChat developed its first iteration of the ATP mentoring training manual. And based on this, we launched the ATP mentoring pilot program, which was a 6-week pilot that began in March through to April 2020, which was during the first wave of COVID lockdowns. The pilot moved to completely online and remote delivery at this time. And the evaluation of the peer mentoring program was conducted by our research partner, Dr. Natasha Layton, and work has begun at that time to publish a journal article, which is now available online. The evaluation engaged both the mentee and the AtChat mentor and gathered valuable insights around program accessibility, delivery, and outcomes. So hopefully, based on that brief rundown of AtChat's history, you can see that AtChat is really committed to engaging with our community in a genuine way using co-design methodologies to ensure people with disabilities design, develop, implement, and evaluate our peer support and peer-led content. To do so, we used a living labs methodology of exploration, experimentation, and evaluation to develop the peer mentoring program. And the image on the screen documents in further detail how we did this, all the touch points of our co-design. And if you're interested more, you can read through our co-design history under best practice on our website. So AtChat brings an inclusive approach to finding out what good looks like in AT, to ensure our AT users, experts, practitioners, and the wider AT community are part of the development, design, and review of the AtChat program. AtChat defines co-design as a collaborative program delivered in equal relationship between the service users, service professionals, and their support network. And that's really what we've tried to do in developing the AtChat peer mentoring program. We look to move away from our consumers being informed and consulted and provide them with more active roles as co-design, co-production, and then of course co-delivery of the service. A Living Labs approach to co-design was used to develop the AtChat peer mentoring program. So to develop the AT peer mentoring program, we worked with Dr. Layton and the community of AT users to reimagine the traditional clinical-led AT service delivery steps into a more user-driven model of purchasing assistive technology. And this resulted in easy-to-understand service delivery steps for accessing AT and terminology that reflected the voice of the AT user, not so much the voice of the AT professional. So this is how we came to develop our model of peer mentoring, which is the connect, create, and control model. So the model starts with the connect stage, where the customer and mentor chat about AT needs and goals and work together to explore some possibilities of AT solutions. During the create stage, the pair work together to evaluate and compare current AT, to discuss support and services, redefine their goals, and create a plan. At this point, they might seek allied health support if needed. And the final stage is control, and this involves guiding the customer to take ownership of their AT journey by comparing and choosing the best option for them, guiding them to develop independence and experience with purchasing AT, and encouraging choice and control to who and how they set up and train for using their AT. We also ensure allied health professional support is needed here if required. After working through the connect, create, and control model, the mentor writes a formal letter of advice to support a person to purchase AT. This document we call our solution guide. The solution guide acts as a structured document to guide consumers with an action plan towards what AT information, support, and services that are accessible, practical, and relevant in their circumstances. And this document can then be sent through to the NDIS for purchasing assistive technology. Also, it supports our local area coordinators, planners, allied health professionals, and anybody else involved in the process there. So that said, not all customers are after this full connect, create, control, mentor-based experience. Not everybody needs them. In our community, we have a bunch of AT experts that are quite well advanced in choosing their own assistive technology. Often they just have a quick question, or they need some information, resources, or direction towards services. Even those type of quick questions we can manage through our connect, create, and control model. We consider this in our service delivery steps, and what we're doing right now is looking at a triage model that's able to respond to customers in this way. So I mentioned that we have piloted the program. That was back in March 2020. It's worth mentioning that we also made sure that pilot looked at the different risks and roles of each professional during the AT acquisition period. This program demonstrates the role of allied health professionals and AT peer mentoring within the ACCHAP defined service delivery steps. You can see it's really what we're hoping will be a team effort in supporting each other. So this is because our community really did acknowledge that AT is becoming more readily available in mainstream stores and off the shelf, and identified the need to consider safety and risk that AT may pose to its users. They acknowledged the important role of allied health professionals in service delivery, while also recognising that accessing support to make decisions about low-level AT is not easy to come by. It's a real gap in the market at the moment. And often AT users are relying on support of allied health professionals at this low-risk, low-cost level, which is expensive to the consumer and is really contributing to much longer wait lists here in Australia. ACCHAP is aiming to fill this gap in the market by providing this independent peer support for people purchasing AT within the low cost, low risk, also mid cost, low risk, and mid risk levels with some allied health professional supervision. The AT peer mentors also provide support and insight along allied health professionals at the more pointy end of this pyramid, providing advocacy and support to people with disability, making decisions, big decisions, about higher risk AT and more expensive assistive technology. So you get a real sense of what we're trying to do here. I'd like to introduce you to Danielle, who participated in our pilot, and Clint, who's one of our AT peer mentors. This video is less than 2 minutes and it uses the words and feedback of both Danielle and Clint.
The AT Navigation Peer Support Model. Meet Danielle. Danielle has a background in community services and a lifelong physical disability, which often requires creative thinking to make things more accessible. Meet Clint. Clint, the navigator, is motivated to find solutions for himself and others he meets along his journey as he transitions to his new life as a person with paraplegia. Why connect with the AT Navigation Program? Danielle participated because she could not find a practical, stylish, or suitable solution to a fire alarm going off whenever she burnt her toast. She was currently living with a disconnected fire alarm because she could not find an affordable option that looked appropriate in her home. Connect, let's chat. Danielle. Once we started talking, it just felt like two peers problem solving. Clint. We can discuss solutions that we both felt would be suitable. Create, make a plan. Danielle. Clint understood my needs from his personal experience and provided me with options and information which allowed me to make a choice. Clint. My lived experience with disability in AT gave me a clearer understanding of what would be suitable for Danielle. Control, make a choice. Danielle. I felt in control of the process the whole time and was an equal contributor. Clint. Overall, I feel this program has been designed around sharing a lived experience of AT. Connect, create, control.
Hopefully that just provided an example of the market that we're looking at filling and supporting people to make AT decisions. Our key research findings, we had Natasha Layton, again, Dr. Natasha Layton, conduct the evaluation and outcome research for our navigation pilot. And she found that All AT users who received the peer support in line with our Connect, Create and Control model identified increased opportunities to be able to access unbiased information about AT that's free from sales and marketing. They demonstrated choice and control following the pilot in regards to their AT decision making. They felt empowered to independently source information, construct an AT solution and make informed decisions in the future. And they also demonstrated improved general self-efficacy, motivation and belief in their ability to overcome challenges to achieve their AT goals following the pilot. So if you'd like to read our research in more detail, it's available on the ACCHAT website under our research. And that's the link through to the pilot and evaluation work. So from best practice to next practice. So based on our independent evaluations, there are some key implications that were identified for next practice. And hopefully these are some key take-homes. The pilot provided positive indicative evidence about the value of peer support from the perspective of a peer mentor, AT users, and then shows real knock-on benefits for systems and service deliveries. Having AT users involved actively in the program design and delivery brings a range of positive outcomes and possibilities for the way services are delivered. It highlighted the need for an increased emphasis on work-ready skills for peer mentors, such as time management and embedding community practice and allied health supervision. And other AT users have substantial untapped resources and contributions that they can make to the workforce, which can bring tangible outcomes to other AT users, health professionals, and service providers, as well as the society. I did mention at the start that I would run through just a little quick overview of our AT portal, which is where you can find all of our AT information resources in one place. Kerry Duff is an active chatter and a Paralympian, and she talks here about how the AT portal will change how she collates her AT resources and enables her to connect to the AT community that we've created. The AT portal is live and ready for you to make an account and work through the resources. Please feel free to use any of the collection of resources there for yourself or AT users that you work with. Also, in what's next, I've got a minute to tell you what's next. We have launched AT Peer Mentoring. This is Jason, and he is our first AT Peer Mentor with a certificate for an AT Peer Mentoring. And we're on track to launch our service in October. The AT portal that I've shown you today will represent iteration 1 of the work we're undertaking, and we have some really clear enhancements, including employing more AT mentors around Australia to achieve a more national focus. We're looking at running the service holistically through the portal with member logins to improve service delivery. We want to create a forum on the portal that amplifies the voices of people with disability. We need to look at user experience and smoothing that out. Also linkages through to social media. there's so much more that we want to do, but basically we want to be the where AT users go in Australia.
Thank you, Kristy, for your sharing. So we got quite a lot of questions, so let's look into the question. Okay, so the first one, you mentioned living lab approach during innovation stage. What kind of positive support has been brought to the innovators?
What sort of positive support has been brought to the innovators? Is that the question? I guess we had a range of innovators that supported that entire process, and the Living Labs, it's not just a one thing, it's like a concept of a whole range of different ways we utilize methods of co-design to improve what it is that we're trying to deliver, and in this case it was the AT peer mentoring. So ATCHAT has always had a very strict concept that when we ask people with disability to support our innovations and provide their advice and assistance on what we're trying to do, that we pay them. So we provide financial support to people who contribute to AT peer mentoring.
Thank you. So another audience asks, in your experience, how would you persuade or encourage the people to use in trial stage, and what are the major challenges and how are those challenges being tackled?
Trial is one thing that's really, it's a big conversation at the moment in Australia more broadly across both aged care and disability sectors. I don't think we've got that sorted out. It's quite complex in relation to suppliers. Also the purchase of products online, I mean, it's tricky. People can trial and then purchase online separately. So I don't think it's something we've solved. Also, AT peer mentoring is more so about the decision of what to trial. So in our service delivery, I don't think we are yet at a place where we're able to provide feedback and information on how best to manage that trial process. Other than to say that in its current form, our AT mentor could certainly stand alongside a person with disability through that trial process, help them think of all the different contributing factors that might lead to a decision about this being the best piece of AT for them or not.
Right. So this is a interesting question. So is there anyone who is less suitable for using it? And did you hear any special comment, both positive and negative?
Anyone who's less suitable to having an AT peer mentor? Well, I think actually one interesting thing that we found in our community group, so we have Chatterbox and we have a really big amount, like over 1,000 people with disability who use assistive technology that are in that group. And there's certainly a lot of peer support that happens there informally. And often our group there are less likely to take on our AT peer mentoring because they're actually experts in their own assistive technology. So I would suggest that someone who is already an expert AT user, who has lots of experience making decisions, like they really don't need to access our AT peer mentoring service. And as a service, we need to make sure we can get to the people that need us most, and that's maybe people who have recently acquired a disability who AT is new for. So hopefully that answers that question.
Thank you. Okay, so the other audience asked, the ad users seems young, and are they also start shaping the needs of elderly, like how they imagine how they grow old in the future and what they really need? So I think the audience just saw your presentation, so they all look so young.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting observation. We work in the disability space for ATCHAT, not in the aged care space. And as an organisation that I work for, which is called iLA, we have the two streams of peer-based disability and then also rethinking aging. We have them separate, and we do that on purpose because we find there's stigma that sits across both ways, and the people with disability that we work with don't want to be grouped in with the older people, and the older people have the same vice versa feeling. So in AtChat, in our branding and marketing, we've specifically gone for not a young approach, so that's an interesting feedback, but I guess a more contemporary approach with our black and white and our tiny bits of colour here and there. And we've really tried to look less service provider in comparison to a lot of the other providers in Australia.
Right, thank you. So here asks, how are Dr. Harper's ad solutions adaptable to various economies of scale and especially conducive to mass production or use? So what do you think about mass production or mass usage?
Yeah, it's something that we're really looking at the moment. As I said in October, we're ready to launch, and it's October right now. So we're really close to launching. And when we do that launch AT peer mentoring as a fee for service for the first time, we are actually focusing very small in our marketing and our activation within the community. And we're just looking at not even just Perth, where I'm from, but we're looking at Perth Metro North and then some specific suburbs in there. But that said, we've been designed purposefully as a digital first service and as a nationwide service, and internationally, with lots of people from around the world on Chatterbox. So in terms of scale, we're looking at business models that would support that. One concept that we're looking at, a business model we're looking at here in Australia, is the cooperative, which would potentially support members as AT peer mentors to deliver as a small business owner the AT peer mentoring services around Australia. That feels like a leading kind of future state business model, but right now we're testing and trying on a much smaller scale. Whilst we're focusing our marketing on that smaller group, we're also doing all digital-based marketing, and so we'll be taking, hopefully, consumers will be reaching out for our service from around Australia.
Well, we can't wait to see it. So, okay. The next question about how was the technology application be sustained both financially and in terms of manpower? So sustainability is really important.
It's so important, and that's why we are switching to a fee-for-service model come October, which is now, like any minute now. But we also have been very lucky to have some funding rolled over. So we were funded by the NDIS, which has now switched over to the funding has switched over to the Department of Social Services to deliver information linkages and capacity building support through the National Information Product Grant. So we were super fortunate to be awarded that funding, which was able to support the build of our AT portal. And that funding has since just on the 7th of October, it's been announced to roll over to the 24th of October, 2024. So that's going to support all of the iterative builds and developments across the AT portal, and that allow us to hire more AT peer mentors and give us the time to work on that sustainability. So it gives us the time to test and try whether, as a fee for service, it is a sustainable business model.
Thank you. Thank you, Kristy, again for your insightful sharing. Please keep inspiring others.
Oh, thanks so much.
Hello, I am Kjær Lauridsen. I'm head of assisted living technologies in the city of Aarhus. I'm going to speak a little about how we try to create an atmosphere for the development and adoption of assistive technologies in my city. We are doing this because we have to face the fact that we are more elderly people especially among the oldest ones. I know that compared to many other parts of the world where there are much more people, we are not so many in Denmark. We are only 6.3 million people. But we are facing a significant increase of old people. It's over 50%. People in Aarhus, they live longer. In 10 years, the average lifespan has increased a lot, and the remaining life expectancy of the people are also increased by more than a year. We are facing a lot of old people with greater extent with chronic diseases. Also, the rate of chronic diseases is almost 50% higher than it was years back. The number of elderly chronic patients are growing somewhat faster than the number of elderly people. And health is worse in the old ages than it was before. And that forces us to look into other ways of helping the old people. And we are looking for technologies which can help us in that respect. To face the challenge, we work with technology, and we are focusing on creating value in all perspectives. First and foremost, if we are looking at the slide from left to right, we have to use technology so it creates quality of life, higher self-reliability for the citizens. It's because if it doesn't, they won't have it. They won't use the technology. We also have to be sure that the technology is supporting working environments. And we also have to be sure that the technology that we invest in creates workflows that are better and cheaper than the workflows that we leave, and which are based on working people. And of course, when we are creating technology, we would like very much that it should also create some business development. So we have 4 bottom lines. In building up use of technology, we are facing 4 phases. We have to make the ideas flow from the practices, from the practitioners in all the different professions and to us, so that we can see if we can search for technology, so that we can make a proof of concept test environments, user involvement, technologically specifications, user-friendly, qualified by employees. Implementation and education is also a very important phase, because without that, things wouldn't work. We are planning implementation processes in respect of those who are affected. And we also, after we have started the implementation, going back to see if it works, if the technology works and gives us the value that we want. We want to ensure smooth transition of working culture. And when we have the technologies, we also are setting up a workflow where it can be ordered and delivered to the people who needs it in home care or in the nursing homes. We make specifications of requirement before we buy the technologies, and we are addressing the needs of caretakers and caregivers, technological specifications, data security, and we are cooperation with the suppliers so that the context of service and support is correct, and also so the contracts of education meets our needs, and we are looking into delivery. I'll now come with mention some examples of technology which we use or which we are trying to implement. To support citizens at home, we use emergency calls. In home care, where citizens are fragile and in danger of falling, it is granted when needed. At the moment, we have approximately 2,000 working units in our city. When an emergency call is activated, we have to get the possibility of get into the citizen if he or she has fallen. And to support the citizen's life at home, we use, therefore, electronic locks. in home care where citizens cannot open, it is granted when needed. At the moment, we have approximately 3,400 working units. So we use it not only where there's an emergency call, but also when the home care has to get into a fragile person who is not capable of opening the door by themselves. To support the functionality of citizens at home, we are using ExoLive Assistance app. It's a platform for maintaining training in citizens' home, facilitated by Kjær. We have right now 174 citizens use or have used ExoLive Assistant app in 2022. And the number is increasing because it gives more, when you're training, you get more ability to live your lives and to do what you want to do. We also were using ExoLive Assistance app as a training device, our video with Go and Teams. And it's a device where we are lending a lot of tablets to citizens who do not have the equipment for themselves. We have just started this part. It creates the possibility of a physiotherapist to train with more citizens on screen. I think right now it's possible to train with 16 people on screen without going out to them. After they have had their first introduction, they can train on screen. And the physiotherapist can have more than one sets of teams of citizens with whom she or he is training. To support citizens at home, we use GPS. They are used to support people in early stages of dementia. So they still can walk the neighborhood, and if they are disoriented, they can just push the button and they can get help to find their way back. It is also used for people living in nursing homes, so that if they get away, we can set up a geofence so that if the geofence is broken, we can send someone out to find them before they get into situations which are not comfortable for them, or where they are in danger in traffic, for instance. To support citizens' life at home, we have started implementation of eTeam. It's a virtual healthcare. We restarted the implementation with a new software solution, new organization, and central delivery from an eTeam to citizens. The eTeam delivers. They already granted home care and nursing services, but they are just doing it on screen. And they can have a talk about how life is going in the home. They can give guidance in order to eat the right thing, to drink at the right time, and they can also give guidance in using medication. To support lives at home, we are right now testing 4 different technologies for medication management. We want to have them distributed among 150 citizens, and we have that right now in cooperation with 3 other municipalities. The preliminary conclusion is we need different technologies for different types of citizens' needs. A simple screening tool and a lot of implementation support for the big changes of practice. 3 of the devices, it is the 2 upper and the 1 to the right, are building on dose-packed medications. They can be used only for tablets, not for lotions or injections or inhalations or liquid medications. The one left down, left in the bottom, is filled up with boxes that contains only one kind of medication. And it has a barcode so that the machine can read which type of medication is inside and give the right dose to the right time. Common for all of them is that they can be used, they're giving an acoustic alarm to the citizens, and some of the machines are speaking to the citizens. It's time to take your medication. Please take your medication now, and press the button that you have done so. When we are working with technology, it is very important for us that we reach out to the citizens. Because of that, we have in our DocX, it's our new culture house on the dock side. We have installed an exhibition, interactive exhibition of health and assisted living technologies and also welfare technologies. We try to reach out to the citizens so that they can come and see not what the municipality will grant them, but what exists and what they can buy. It is in order to support their quality of life. It is in order to support their self-reliability. We want to create empowerment so that DocX can be a center for the meetings between seniors, youngsters, students, companies, and also people who are under education to be social workers, care workers, nurses, or occupational therapists, and also people from engineer education, healthcare engineer education frequently come to DocX. Also, people from IT educations are coming into DocX. Empowerment of the peoples means that they should have the possibility to look at the different kind of technologies, to try them, to test them. And that's also the matter for youngsters from kindergartens and from schools. They have to be able to look, to see, to touch. And we also want to create a social innovation together with the people. We want to have their comments on the products and whether they think it's possible to use them. The social innovation needs to also demystify the technologies. We want demystification so that people are reaching out for technology and they are being content with the technologies, and they also being they think that technologies are safe to use and they are a good help in normally daily life situations. Of course, it's a place also where we will create knowledge for not only the seniors, but for all people living in Aarhus. As you will see in a small clip, 35 seconds later on here, the first 2 years we had 27,000 visitors, and right now we are on our way to have 70,000 visitors, and we have 355,000 inhabitants in Aarhus. So it's a lot of people coming there, and we also experience that they are very curious about the technologies. They are asking a lot of questions about technologies, and a lot of people also buy technologies which cannot be granted from the municipality. So we have reached our targets building up DocX. And now I will present you the movie. Thank you for your attention. That was what I wanted to tell about for now. And I know that on the event, one of my employees will tell you about the sleep monitoring project that we have. So thank you for now.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Lakshmi Supriya, and today I'm going to talk to you about WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization's production of flagship publication on assistive technology. I would like to thank the organizers for giving WIPO the opportunity to talk about this important topic. The WIPO Technology Trends is a publication that goes much beyond just patent analytics. And I work in the patent analytics department at WIPO, and we do the idea behind doing patent analytics is to use patent data and patent information to create a knowledge base which people can use in different technology areas. And the technology trends goes beyond just using patents, and we generally look at scientific publications, interviews with experts, case studies, everything that we can possibly do. And this publication on assistive technology was published early last year. And I'm happy to be sharing some results of what we found. The publication is huge. I think it's more than 250 pages, and you can find it on the WIPO website. But today I will just give you a glimpse of some of the trends or the key points that we found. And as I have my email address on there, and if there are any questions after the presentation, please feel free to send me an email, and I'd be happy to either correspond by email or have a discussion later on. Okay, so let's move on to talking more about the assistive technology publication, the technology trends. So when you think of assistive technology, what do you think of? Maybe you think of spectacles, hearing aids, walking sticks, low tech. Do you think it is low tech, or do you think it is high tech? And is it about a limited number of products that we think of? Or do you think of it helping only a limited number of people, or does it have broader applications? Now, in our publication, we categorize assistive technology in different areas. One is conventional, what we generally think of as assistive technology: spectacles, hearing aids, walking sticks, wheelchairs. And the other one is emerging technologies, which we generally don't think of as assistive technologies. Things like virtual reality devices, assistive robots, exoskeletons. And a third part is our enabling technologies that are not really directly a product, an assistive technology product, but they help make these products much better. Things like AI, artificial intelligence, or autonomous vehicles, sensors, which go beyond what we think of today. And the report, since the technology, the products and the technology is so huge, we've divided or categorized the areas into different areas that you can see on the screen on your right, like vision, cognition, communication, the environment that these devices work in, hearing, of course, mobility, and also self-care. And like I said, the publication is huge. And today I'm going to only touch upon very briefly what the different trends are. We found about 5 trends, which I will talk to you a little bit about. And trend 1, the first trend, is that assistive technology is expanding. It refers to both, like I mentioned, conventional and emerging assistive products. And most of the patenting activity is still in conventional assistive technology products, but emerging AT products are growing. They're growing almost 3 times faster than patent filings in conventional products. And one would think that if there are 2 of these categories, are they competing with each other? But our analysis found that they're not really competing with each other, but are creating parallel product markets such that there is room for innovation in both of them. And we've identified a huge array of products, more than 350. And this just goes to show that there are different user profiles and different needs. And then it is relevant for everyone. And we say that because cutting edge assistive technologies can find applications in a lot of mainstream electronic devices. For example, if you think of a brain-machine interface device, they can be used in the gaming industry, where gamers control their games just by using the brain-machine interface. If you think of the fitness bands that many people wear for measuring their fitness activities, health, emotional wellness, the areas in these or the people or the companies that work in these areas are also attracted to develop products for assistive technology. This, combined with the growing aging population, is expected to increase the market share for assistive technology, and thus it makes it relevant for everyone. The second trend that we found is that many disciplines converge together, and such that now from pure assistance, the technology is moving towards enhancement or even recovery. So what do I mean by that? Now, for example, just instead of just helping a person who cannot walk to walk using a walking stick or a wheelchair, it might help recover missing human functions such as improved sensory perception. And these are known as assistive augmentation. Or, for example, headphones that improve your hearing of music as well as act as hearing aids. So there is a convergence of these different disciplines that now make products for assistive technologies. The second area here is there is a trend towards more invasive assistive products, such as implantable products. And then there's a slight blurring of the lines between what is considered a medical product versus what is considered an assistive technology product. The third trend, which I think is growing in many areas, is being connected and smart and efficient devices. So if you look at, so in the center, you will find all the categories that I mentioned, and outside, you can see all the different enabling technologies, which I also mentioned, which will help make AT products much faster. And these enabling technologies like AI or robots or new materials, Internet of Things and connectivity, they not only help the user do whatever they need to do, but also they learn from the user and adapt to the user's needs, so making them smart. And smart environment and mobility are the fastest growing areas in this in assistive technology. And there is interest for several related applications, which is reflected in these high growth rates. For example, 3D printed prosthetics, body mass index-based control device control, assistive robots, bone conduction devices for hearing. And there is also increased efficiency because now these products are becoming modular. Instead of one big product doing one thing, you can have different modules for the product that help improve efficiency. And these devices initially were used only for one task. Now, just like we multitask most of the time, these devices are also becoming multi-tasking assistive products. They just don't do one thing. They can do many things. Trend 4. What we found is that there are a lot of diverse companies and universities and inventors who are working in this area, from startups to multinationals. So if you look at the companies, they are specialized companies that provide products for assistive technologies, and they usually typically focus only in one domain, such as vision or mobility. Now, there are also the consumer electronic goods company. They have distributed patent portfolios across several of these categories. For example, Panasonic features among the top applicant in many of these categories. And the automotive industry is also a big player in assistive technology products. And they are usually filing patents in the area of mobility. Universities are active in emerging assistive technology, and they account for about 35% of the patent filings in the field of emerging assistive technologies. And surprisingly, there is also a high number of independent inventors. And this is probably because of the nature of assistive technology, and people might have personal motivation to find solutions for improved living or assistance. The next trend that we found is the geography of the innovation is changing. Traditionally, the markets have been the US, Japan, and Europe. But now we see greater competition or greater innovation coming from China and the Republic of Korea, with the filings in China in assistive technology are growing at 30%, and they are surpassing filings in the US. And other geographies that are coming up are India, Israel, the Russian Federation, and Singapore. And these are mostly in the area of emerging assistive technologies. Now, these are the 5 trends which generally we found using patents and discussions and interviews and case studies. Now, another important aspect of intellectual property is industrial designs, and they find they're important when we're talking of assistive technology products. The design refers to how a product looks outside, the outward appearance, its shape, its color, its feel, not the feel, but its shape and appearance in most cases, colors. And so design is very important for adoption or not of assistive technology. And we find that we also did an analysis of the industrial designs around assistive technology, and we found that design applications along with patents is a holistic strategy that is followed by most of the top players. Though there is a slight difference here, there is a slight difference, I would say. Because some top players like IBM and Semiconductor Energy Lab are not in this area, in the designs. So as you can see from the trends, the future of assistive technology is bright. But as usual with everything, there are challenges. Now, as part of the analysis, we also carried out a technology. So what are the different challenges that we found? The first challenge is getting these emerging technologies to market. Our analysis showed that only about 18% are commercialized, and that there are many reasons for this. And with some of the reasons possibly are intellectual property and the transfer of technology from being an idea to something in production. And that there are other factors like regulatory approvals or standards or legal framework which can hinder commercialization of the technology. And like I said, only 18% has been commercialized. So about 80% of the new technologies have not made it to market. And one of the challenges is also the need for more investments. Generally, it is perceived, assistive technology products are perceived as a niche area with a small market share. Now, how did we figure out whether the products are commercialized or not? We did what is called an analysis of the technology readiness levels. This is a concept developed by NASA in the US, where they rate technologies from a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being just an idea on paper, and 10 being something that is commercialized and selling in the market. And if you look at it, we found, like I said, 18% are commercialized. About 60%, the bulk, is just the minimum viable product. And they are ready to be commercialized, but requires a lot of investment and effort to get there. And about 20-25% are still either in the proof of concept or research concept stage. On our website, you will find an interactive dashboard. If you look at these are all the different technology areas from outside, and then you go inside to see the products that have been commercialized, the circles representing the number of patents in the area. I would encourage you to go to this website and play around with all these yourself. It's quite interesting. Now, the next challenge is accessibility, which means there's a lack of awareness and communication. And that will only happen along with the wider ecosystem. That means policies, regulations, and more of international communication where such as people are made aware of what is available to them. Cost certainly can be prohibitive in many cases, especially when it's a new technology and it's an emerging technology. And things like medical insurance and policies and whether they cover it or the assistive technology or not can certainly be challenges for the adoption of assistive technology. Notwithstanding the challenges, the future of assistive technology looks very bright. And like we also identified, there is a lot of potential for growth. There is an aging population. The needs are varied. And now there is a trend towards going from only assistance to enhancement or recovery. But at the same time, there are also new considerations. For example, if you use AI or brain-computer interfaces, ethical considerations come into play. If you use smart devices, questions about data privacy come into play. No matter how the reality will look based on the impact of different policies, regulation, and other scenarios, the future certainly is promising. And the idea is that it will develop holistically with the entire ecosystem. And that is all that I had to talk to you about. You can find the report at the website mentioned. It has a lot of interactive visualization, and there is also a fully accessible EPUB version of the report and several interactive visualizations for the different areas. So thank you all for your attention. And if you have any questions, please do feel free to contact me at the email address, and I'd be happy to talk to you, email. And thank you very much to the organizers for giving WIPO the opportunity to talk about our publication.